This is a CBS News special report. I'm Maurice Dubois. Political violence in America this afternoon. Conservative political activist Charlie Kirk has been shot during an event at Utah Valley University. CBS News has learned a single shot was fired on campus toward Kirk. These are photos of him from prior events. We do not know the extent of Kirk's injuries. The University Alert says a suspect is in custody and police are investigating. Let's go to Justice correspondent Scott McFarland now. Scott, what are you learning?
This was a publicly advertised event by this conservative media icon, Charlie Kirk. It began at 2 p.m. on the East Coast, 12 p.m. local time in Utah. A public speech in front of a large crowd at Utah Valley University, an enormous school in central Utah. The FBI director, Kash Patel, has issued a statement saying, "We're closely monitoring reports of the tragic shooting involving Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University." And the governor of Utah, Spencer Cox, says, "I'm being briefed by law enforcement following the violence directed at Charlie Kirk during his visit to Utah Valley University today." The law enforcement presence there is likely to include the FBI, and Utah Valley University has a police force, so does the community of Orem, Utah. But at this point, we're going to lean on what the FBI and governor are saying, that this is a violent act that involved Charlie Kirk. His remarks have ended as the violence broke out there in Orem, Utah. Maurice.
Scott, best you can tell at this point, obviously very early in the investigation and the situation, but it appears single gunman, single shot. Is that correct?
Well, the videos that are coming in, which we are working with our CBS News team, confirmed team to verify, have sounds in them consistent with gunshots, but we're going to leave that until we get further confirmation of the videos coming in. This is a rally of sorts. Everybody there seemingly would have some phone. There's video, there's audio. In fact, to get into this event today, you had to acknowledge that the videos of you would be usable for Charlie Kirk and his team. This is a heavily photographed event, but we'll be cautious right now with the videos we see coming in voluminously from sources at the scene.
Okay, Scott McFarland, thank you. And it does not appear at this point that anyone else has been hurt, again, as best we can tell. We do have video that has come into our newsroom. This is the event in Utah. Kirk speaking. A shot is heard, and then we stop the video here before he is struck, and he falls out of sight. And the people who took this video scrambled to get away to some kind of safety. Obviously, a lot of panic, a lot of fear, and people trying to just get out of there once this shooting went down. Our senior White House and political correspondent, Ed O'Keefe. Ed, what are you learning this afternoon? And if not, what do you know? We can put some context into Charlie Kirk's status as a conservative political activist.
Yeah, let's do that first, Maurice, because I think there may be many people watching right now wondering, why would we interrupt to share this information? Charlie Kirk is a 31-year-old originally from the Chicago suburbs, an incredibly influential figure in conservative politics. Bottom line this for you, to give you a sense of how influential. He was meeting last fall during the presidential transition with President Trump to pick cabinet nominees. He's a close friend of Donald Trump Jr., who was among those pushing the now president to pick J.D. Vance as his running mate. He flew with the vice president to Greenland when the administration was making that an issue earlier this year. And he's someone who has helped rally tens of thousands, if not millions, of younger conservative voters in this country to the Republican cause. This gathering that was being held here at the university in Utah includes what's called a prove me wrong table, where he sits there, as you see in this video, and in essence tries to debate issues with people who disagree with him. It's become a popular production or a popular element of his social media work. And part of what draws younger people to these events is to watch him sort of refute or push back on issues or topics that he may have a disagreement with the person, but all meant to spark conversation and make people think. This is video, as we understand it, that was shot earlier today at the beginning of this event, and this was the kickoff for it. Now, there was reporting in recent days in Utah about concern among students at this university about having Kirk hold this event on the campus for what he calls the American Comeback Tour. This was to be the first stop in that tour, where reportedly thousands of students had signed a petition requesting that they bar Kirk from holding this event. And he spoke about it with the Utah Republican Senator Mike Lee on Kirk's podcast last week, where they said, find it interesting that there's such opposition, but Lee encouraged him to go. So he's a controversial figure to those not in the conservative movement who disagree strongly with his views and those of President Trump, but an incredibly popular and essential figure in the Trump movement in recent years, and someone who virtually all Republican leaders would point to as someone who has brought new support, especially among younger male voters, to the Trump campaign and continue to back that coalition, Maurice.
Yeah, Ed, and speaking of which, Charlie Kirk, 31 years old. President Trump responding and reacting on social media. Here are his words. We must all pray for Charlie Kirk, who has been shot. A great guy from top to bottom, the president says. God bless him. Ed, when you go to a Charlie Kirk event, I don't know if you have, we're talking about thousands of people, like a rock star.
Yes, and this was, again, the start of what he calls the American Comeback Tour, was designed to draw thousands of young people to the event, as you see here, again, in this footage that we understand is from earlier today as it was beginning. He is very popular with younger men in this country, with college-aged voters, college-aged people, because of the popularity of his podcast and his other social media work. Turning Point USA is considered the largest conservative youth movement in this country, holds conferences on a fairly regular basis that draw all the top names in Republican politics, be it the president, the vice president, on down. Those that would like to be president one day understand they have to be cultivating this organization in order to expect future support. So there will be widespread concern and acclaim for his work among Republican leadership up and down a ballot, and grave concern across the country among those who are supporters of the president and others in the conservative movement, because they understand that he has been such a rock star, a galvanizing force, someone who's brought people together. Maurice, we should also convey the president now speaking out here on Truth Social. Some of our colleagues were up in the West Wing when this news broke out across social media, and White House officials learned of it just as we did, in essence, and headed into closed-door meetings to sort out how exactly to respond. But all of those people, to give you a sense of his influence, know him, would have worked with him, and very well may be in the jobs they're in today, Maurice, because Kirk at one point or another would have said to Donald Trump, that's someone worthy of continuing to work alongside you at the White House.
Yeah, Ed, to call him hugely influential would be really understating the situation. Let's take a look at the video here one more time. You saw Kirk there at the beginning of the event, but here is the moment he's actually shot. There he is sitting on a stage. This is at Utah Valley University just a short time ago this afternoon. A single shot was fired. We're freezing the video here because of the disturbing nature of it all, but he is shot once, the shirt ripples, and he falls off to the right of our screen there. And then the people who took the video, they are obviously terrified and start running to get out of there. So again, Charlie Kirk, 31 years old, the conservative political activist, shot there at Utah Valley University a short time ago. This having a ripple effect throughout the political world as we speak. I want to bring in CBS News Chief Washington analyst Robert Costa. Bob, yet another political